Okay, everybody, welcome to the second post-match press conference with the Irish team. To my right, we have coach Andy Farrell, and we have the captain, Johnny Sexton. Put your hand up if you want to ask a question, and we'll start the questioning over here on the left. Thank you.
Hi, Michael Glenn, RT Sport. Andy, congratulations. Your team has risen to another challenge. What pleased you most about that victory tonight?
Our resilience, which has been really good of late anyway, as you could imagine, but that was a proper game, a traditional game that it had absolutely everything, and there was ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and how we managed to stay on point mentally, I thought was fantastic. The game was never going to be perfect. First half, I thought we had the rub of the green as far as field position is concerned, and probably didn't capitalise on that a little bit, but it was certainly roles reverse, wasn't it, in the second half? But how we kept our heads, getting those couple of penalties at the end when it really mattered, is the big plus side of our performance.
Question in the front.
Cian Tracy, Irish Independent. Johnny, congrats. You've had some special moments here, some tough moments as well. Where did that rank, and what's the key now to kicking on from it?
I think we've had some big wins in pool stages before. That's right up there when you play against the reigning world champions. It's always going to be incredibly tough, and it was. They didn't let us down in terms of the physicality of the game, but I thought we fronted up and gave some good stuff ourselves in that regard. And yeah, it's right up there, but we got to make it count now. We got to go, and we got some time off, I suppose, this week with the bye week, and then we regroup, and then we got to back it up against Scotland and make sure we do the business to get out of the pool.
Gentleman over here.
Congratulations, Andy. We know the Springboks are very strong in the set pieces. Just want to touch on the set pieces, lineouts and scrums. On the lineouts, you guys lost 3 early lineouts, and then 100% from there. And then in the scrums, you're losing 2 in the first half. In the second half, we're having 3 penalties. I mean, what are your thoughts on the set pieces, and are you pleased with today's performance, especially against the Springboks?
Well, again, that's the quality of the Springboks. That's the quality of the opposition that's got to be coming. The more that we're able to stay in this competition and keep moving on. So, but keeping ourselves on track mentally and staying at it was absolutely the key. And you know, I thought our discipline certainly in the second half was very good within the line out, and you know, it was roles reverse, wasn't it, in regards to the penalty, the early engage from South Africa, and the penalty that we got on their line for us to kick the goal. So again, we stayed at it mentally and rolled with the punches, as you say, but came out strong the other side as well.
Gentleman towards the back.
Johnny, fly halves are always marked out for special treatment from back row forwards. It seemed like you had a lot of conversation with Peter Steftertoit today. How are you feeling, first of all, in terms of physicality? I saw you maybe holding the shoulder once or twice. And how satisfying is it to come through a physical match like that and be able to walk off as a winner after you've received some extra attention?
Yeah, it was like Peter Steff's one of the best back rowers in the world, and he's made his presence known, of course. A few tackles where just passing the like on the line, and he hits me. It's probably fair. You know, so there's a couple of them. So yeah, very physical game. You know, very different to the first 2 games we had, where I suppose the ball was in play a lot, and I'd say our running meters were probably higher. But today there was a lot more collisions. You know, for and against. So yeah, very tough game. You know, just so proud of the lads to front up. A lot of mistakes, just brushed them off and then went on to the next moment. And that was probably the most pleasing part. Everything we worked on in terms of that mentality was excellent tonight. So look, plenty to work on though, and make sure we get better for the next game.
Okay, one question on the left here.
before I ask my real question, any injuries, Andy? Any
Sorry,
injuries?
Rory.
Any injuries?
No, we've been pretty lucky, haven't we, over the last 3 games?
So much was made about their bench. How did you think your replacements impacted that game?
Like we knew they would. You know, they don't just come on the field and just try and fit in. They come on the field and try add to our performance, and the energy that they give was absolutely fantastic, and we knew they would, because that's how they train, and that's how they compete for each other.
Okay, at the front here.
Shane McGrath from the Irish Daily Mail. Andy, you talk a lot about the value of adversity and experience. How valuable is going through what the team went through tonight and coming out on the right side as a result?
Yeah, it's huge. It's good. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's wonderful to win, but there's not much in it between 2 good sides. You know, there's not much in it, and I think the best thing about it for us is that we get to feel the intensity of a big game within this World Cup, and know what that feels like further down the line, and how we are able to be a little bit more composed, be a little bit more accurate, and play our game a little bit more is invaluable to be able to learn those lessons with a win. But what I would say is, when you love defending as much as we did within that game, it stands us in good stead as far as a want and a fight for the rest of the competition.
Gavin at the front here.
Andy, it was a contest of ferocious physical intensity, but also emotionally so. And I'm just wondering what's key now to enable you to sort of, I don't know, bottle what you had tonight and enable the team to reach those peaks again, and maybe even go beyond those peaks if that's possible.
Yeah, I think as the competition goes on, we'll need to be better, because there's a few bits of inaccuracies, but there's always going to be that type of thing with games like this, especially with the pressure that South Africa put on you. But we again was able to find a way. And when you say it was an emotional game, and how do we bottle that? We've got very good at not getting too emotional, and making sure that we stay on task. So getting the game in like that within the pool stage is great for us.
On the left here.
Derek Foley, L'Etoile. Johnny, could you speak to us about game management and speaking to the line out when it's going wrong at that point? I mean, Ronan had a terrific first half. His defence was absolutely outstanding. But surely, as captain, can you tell us what you did to try and get everybody to settle down as 3 lineouts had gone astray?
Well, I didn't do anything. I let the guys look after it themselves, because they do such a good job. We obviously were bold on the first decision to go for the corner, and then wanted to keep the pressure on. And then obviously we didn't really get too many penalties after that. But I still would have backed the boys to deliver. The Springboks have an outstanding defensive line-out, I would say, and they put us under pressure. But we'll make sure we get it right for the next day. And I don't think it had anything to do with Ronan. I think it was a couple of calls.
Okay, up the back there.
So, Jonathan, une question en français. À quel point vous pensez que cette victoire renforce votre statut de prétendant au titre?
Is that to me?
No, yeah, you.
You can take it if you want.
No, I definitely don't.
It's honestly, it doesn't have any. It's just another game in terms of making sure we, try and get out of the pool. We're not talking about being champions. We're talking about the next game. Today it was all about the Springboks, of course, the whole week. Even earlier on in the summer, we sort of dedicated some time to prepping for this game. But now it's all about Scotland. We're not thinking about anything beyond that. You know, Scotland are an excellent team. I think that they'll be frustrated with how they played against South Africa. But at the same time, you saw how we struggled at times to get our game going. So it's all geared up towards that game now, and making sure that we do what's required to try and win the pool. You know, but you can't look beyond the next game in this competition. We've learned that. That's the biggest lesson we can take from the last few World Cups anyway.
Over on the right.
Johnny, could you talk about the atmosphere and the level of Irish support and what it was like for you as a player today compared to all the other days you've had outside of Ireland particularly?
You know, I said that we've had some big days before in terms of results in the pools, but I've never ever seen a crowd like that. Someone said 30,000 fans.
Yeah,
there was no way there was 30,000. It wouldn't surprise me if there was 60. And they were insane throughout. They gave us the lifts that we needed. And honestly, it's not lost on us. We talk about it a lot, about inspiring those people that put their hand in their pocket week after week. They probably saved for 4 years to come here, and there's something we refer to all the time, and I mean that. We play for them, and they gave us the edge tonight, I think. So fair play to them.
And it isn't just them, Jerry. It's the people back home as well. We know that back home is being worked up into a frenzy, you know. And if that is a sign of things that we can get excited about going forward, then what a lift that's going to give us.
Yep, back here.
Andy, hey, just here. Ollie here from TV3 New Zealand. I know you guys are taking it one game at a time, but this result obviously keeps you on track to top your pool, which would keep you on track for a possible quarterfinal with the All Blacks. Is that a matchup you like for this team at the moment?
Oh no, honestly, we're not concentrating on that at all. We're just trying to concentrate on ourselves, and wherever that takes us, we'll deal with that as we go. But knowing that it probably is going to be either the All Blacks or France, two fantastic teams that we'll think about further down the track.
On the left as well.
Andy, when you said the team managed to stay on point mentally, what does that actually mean when you're watching it in terms of the fundamentals of the game?
Well, you can get caught up in your own mind as far as of what's just been, you know, staying present to focus on the next task in hand is tough, because it's an emotional game. You know, you get yourself ready for combat, and that's what the type of game it is. And it doesn't matter whether it's a call from a referee that you don't agree with, or a mistake that you've made, or frustration in not converting a chance into a try. It affects people in different ways, and making sure that we're able to adjust our mindset and get back on point for being present for the next play is something that we work hard on. It's not easy to do, and we're certainly not perfect at it, but we're getting better.
Okay, got time for two more questions. Gentleman here.
Bonjour, question pour Andy. Avec cette victoire, vous semblez éviter l'équipe de France en quart de finale. Est-ce qu'il y a un certain soulagement? Est-ce que c'est un objectif aussi de gagner ce match pour éviter la France, ou pas nécessairement?
No, sorry. I suppose it got lost in translation, but I think it's the same answer that I give the gentleman over there from New Zealand. We're concentrating on Scotland, and that's all that matters. We know that Scotland are a very difficult team to play against, and you know they'll be bursting to try and put in a performance against us. And if we're lucky enough to perform well enough to get out of the group, we'll deal with that as we go along.
Okay, we've got another question up here. Yep.
Johnny, this is for you. Two-part. What do you make of Marnie Libbik as a player? And ever in your career, did you go through a period where you were struggling with your goal kicking, and then did that affect the rest of your game?
Yes. Manny Libbik, he did some outstanding things. You saw obviously setting up the try. You know, he's a handful with the ball. He's got a array of tricks and stuff like that. And I like every kicker, I think, goes through a period in their career. I definitely had a similar one during a World Cup in 2011, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But you know what? You get stronger off the back of it. So when you do come out the other side, you'll be a better kicker for it. And I don't think there's a kicker in the world that hasn't gone through that type of period. So look, he's an outstanding player. He adds a different dimension to them. So yeah.
Okay, final question here.
Johnny, I apologize if you've answered this in interviews many times, but if you have to say one factor of what changed Irish rugby from times that weren't as good as now, what would you say it is?
The people that are involved. Obviously, the guy sitting next to me, huge impact, and the people that he's brought in, the guys at the top, David Nusafora. Like, there's too many people to name, you know. But we're in a good place, but we can't get carried away, because every team, like tonight, they're lining you up when you're top, when you're world number one. They'll use that as motivation, or when you're on an unbeaten run, they'll use it as motivation. We just need to keep our feet on the ground and keep striving for a better game, always a better game. And you know, teams will see that tonight and go, look, this is how we get after Ireland. And we just need to keep learning on the run. I think to go and win a World Cup, that's what you need to do. You need to keep learning on the run, week on week, and make sure that you're learning in victory as well. So, yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That
concludes the press conference. The mix zone will open very shortly. If you want to go to the mix zone, please make your way down as soon as you can. Thank you.